back to another episode of Paper Traders. I am your co-host Eric. I'm here with Danny Mack, finally, who's back from his sick leave. We are two average Joes trying to beat the market, and I'd like to remind you all we're streaming on all your favorite platforms. Also to like, subscribe, and also leave a comment. And also, I am here looking at our live chat. So if you have something to add or have a question for us or want to make a point of something that we're missing, please feel free to type it in here. I'm going to tease that we will have a guest next week, but I'm not going to really say who yet. So we'll just
We
keep
don't
that
want to
there.
give all of our surprises away. We want to keep a little bit of suspense for you guys, but just trust us that it's going to be a good one. And to make sure to tune in, it's probably going to be looking like a Wednesday interview with them. So just make sure you're aware and
ready.
keep it on. Yeah, keep up with the latest for the Paper Traders podcast.
And don't forget that this is part of the Zacks live block that we're doing Monday through Thursday. So it would be Mondays and Wednesdays here with me and Danny, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays with Ben Rain. So be sure to check that out. He's out on there at free lunch.
Yep, and he's always covering the latest market news, kind of like we do here. So he's covering those gaps. You know, when we're not covering news on a Tuesday, Ben is there to fill in that void and kind of give you the information you need for the day. But he also gives you a top stock pick, so something to kind of look for and to maybe even add to your portfolio. I don't know, maybe it'll be an enticing one for you guys,
Or at least to look
so.
at. At least keep it at the top of your mind, just in
Right.
case you're looking to add something.
Right, because we're always, trying to dive through the 4,000 plus stocks that are available to most investors, and it's a lot. So sometimes getting some help is definitely a good thing. But kind of moving towards, looking at stocks, there was a few earnings reports that came out over the week, and Target was a big one yesterday. They're kind of helping move the market a little bit, and yeah, they did pretty good. It looks like earnings per share, they came out at $1.82 versus the expected $1.62. Their revenues were up just slightly at $18.42 billion versus $18.34 billion. And then their same store sales are up 3.4% versus 2.9%. So they're moving forward and they're putting a lot of money into their e-commerce to really combat Amazon and, those big giant guys who are, in the past made people thought retail was dying and that these type of stores were probably going to go out of business. And no, that's not the case. They're really trying to ramp up, shipping times and really making sure that they're making everything available for you online because they know that people are, kind of moving towards that same type of idea. And then Lowe's, again, they did well too. They came out with an adjusted earnings per share at $2.15 versus $2.01. Their revenues were up also, so they were coming out at $20.99 billion, and this is versus $20.94 billion. And their same store estimates were up 2.3% versus 1.9%. So they're really just coming out and showing, hey, we're combating e-commerce. We're taking advantage of the holiday sales, and it looks like Home Depot did that through the July 4th quarter and all that stuff. So bravo to them.
Retail in general has had a pretty strong showing this earnings season. I feel like most retailers, except for I think it was like LP brands, were pretty much all up.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna actually take a look at LP right now since I mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, I know Walmart did pretty good last week. They're another company that's again combating those fights with Amazon because I feel like at one point, at least a year or so ago, Amazon was just that company that everybody thought was going to kind of take hold of everything from pharmaceuticals to selling you books. They covered it all. But these retail companies are definitely showing their teeth here and saying, hey, we're still doing well. Our earnings are still going up. Our guidance is moving forward. So, bravo to them. Because Walmart, it looks like their Q2 comp sales were up 2.8%, and their e-commerce sales were up 37%. So there you go. The numbers don't lie.
Well, and Walmart actually made some news yesterday. I want to say the news story broke. They had sued Tesla
Oh gosh.
because their roofs that were set up with their solar panel system
Yeah.
started on fire.
That's right, because Tesla, they're not just a car company.
Nope.
They acquired Solar City, which I believe Elon Musk was on the board of. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, Tesla owns the company now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have those renewable energy resources, and they were deploying them to Walmart, and it looks like since 2012. So this has been going on for quite a while.
Like
This isn't
200
just like,
stores or 20 stores, I think, caused
yeah.
over like $200,000 worth of damage.
Let's see.
Hold on, real quick.
Negligence.
Let's back up real quick while you're
Okay,
looking
okay.
for that. I want to go back to L Brands just because I didn't mention it and I didn't want to mess up, and have somebody be like, "Oh, what the heck? You were
Yeah.
wrong." So it says Q3 earnings did beat, but this is from last year, so I don't even know what I'm looking at. Let's go back to just looking it up because I'm sure that Tracy had touched on them recently because I remember
She actually did in her most recent earnings outlook for her video. She does every Monday.
Right. So I'm looking at this and let's take a look at the earnings announcements. and
Currently
see
a
what they
hold.
say. Yeah, because this is a pretty popular brand. Obviously, they own Victoria's Secret and a bunch of other ones, and like you can't really walk around through the city of Chicago without seeing somebody wearing a Victoria's Secret something or other, where it's a pair of a jacket or a pair of sweatpants or something, or
Yeah.
that pink brand which they also have.
Right. Well, it's funny because I'm from Columbus, Ohio, which is where they're located. So I've been very aware of this company and kind of not grown up with it, but it's been in the forefront of my mind since I was a kid.
Well,
I've
you
had
are also
parents grow
you were
there.
also a little boy,
Yeah.
so we can say that.
Yeah.
It's pretty popular with a lot of little boys of the age.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but you know what? It was definitely one of those companies, kind of like you buy what you know, and I feel like this company is doing really well lately. And to go along with all the retail and everything that's happening for them and the e-commerce, and they're kind of showing up, and again, they're saying, hey, we can compete with the big boys in this e-commerce world.
Well, I mean,
so.
it is a hold, ranked number 3 of VGM of C, showing a little bit of a momentum move, maybe because of the momentum of A. But so I misspoke. It didn't actually miss. So yeah, L Brand seems like it's doing fine. So back to Tesla though, because as anybody who knows me knows that I absolutely am a Tesla hater. I am such a hater. I don't like Elon Musk. I don't like Tesla or what they stand for. So it really made me laugh when I saw that they were getting sued by Walmart.
Yeah, and just kind of, I guess, the logistics of it, or just kind of the base story. Walmart is suing them for multi-million-dollar lawsuit. They filed it on Tuesday, and they're saying that it's for negligent installation and maintenance of solar panels that has caused fires on roofs of as many as 7 Walmarts since of 2012. So that is a long stretch of time. It is constantly happening. Eric's pointing at this. Okay. I see why.
Tesla seems to have problems with their batteries lately. I don't know why. I mean,
that looks like a really serious fire.
Spontaneous combustion. That seems like it would be a problem.
You would think.
Battery-powered car, as I understand it, lithium batteries, once they do explode like this, are extremely dangerous. Obviously dangerous enough that, companies like United Airlines and a bunch of others went and made lithium-ion batteries illegal to bring on a plane with you.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
actually,
I don't fly much, so I don't know the rules and regulations too much.
Well, as you know, I like to travel in the wintertime, but
Yeah.
you can't take lithium-ion batteries on you on the plane. It can't be checked in your baggage. It has to be on you and physically. And then you remember, what was it? The Samsung exploding phone? They actually banned those from the
what is with
plane
the
themselves.
batteries nowadays? They just can't sustain the power that they're putting out. What's going on?
Don't
Do you
quote me
know?
on this because the Samsung thing was a while back, but there was something about the way that battery pack was actually constructed that it was a problem. So when it got charged, it got too hot and something about a seal would break and then it would just...
Was this the same thing that happened with the hoverboards that all the kids were getting?
Yeah.
And those were exploding on the
You
planes?
couldn't bring those either, yeah.
Yeah,
You are
okay.
completely correct on that, yeah.
So the dots are slowly connecting for me.
And actually, I had read a couple days ago, this might have been a fake story, I can't remember. So this could be fake news. We don't know. But I had read that airlines were banning MacBook Pros.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, because no, you're right. I follow this guy on YouTube who does what's his name? Unbox Therapy. And he came out and was like, hey, MacBook is doing a recall on all these, they listed out a year of when you could, get the recall, but it's because of their batteries becoming overly hot because they're basically the new MacBook Pro is this powerful machine, and they've jam-packed so much into this tight little space that of course it's going to get hot. I mean, like you said, these batteries are, I mean, they're exploding. So I could imagine why.
Well, I mean, a lot of that has to do with, so with the vapes, specifically with the vapors that were out there, that was due to discharging. So their warning was that it would get warm.
Yeah, well, this is like, I feel like sometimes my computer, it feels like it's 120 degrees.
Oh, I mean, it's my cell phone. Spend, like an hour on your cell phone with your brightness turned up all the way, and you'll have the same type of effect. You know, it gets hot.
Yeah, because it sits in the sun. You get that little warning that says, "Hey, it's gotten too hot. It needs to cool down to use." Right? Have you ever had that?
I've never actually gotten that warning. That'd be a new one. But,
yeah,
I mean,
so
you could feel the heat though.
Oh,
when
for
you're just holding your phone for too long.
So if your phone's saying it's warning, it's too hot to use, you would hope that your computer or something would do the same thing, but apparently not. But I wouldn't say lazy, but I can't send my computer back. I use it on a daily basis. So for me to get rid of my computer for weeks, for them to do the switch out with the battery and send it back to me, I just don't have the time.
Well, hopefully Zacks doesn't send us to South America or something to do a show where we'd need to, bring your computer along because you wouldn't be able to fly with us, Danny, and I'd have to go by myself.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'd be heartbroken. Please.
But yeah, I guess these problems with batteries is not a very good sign. But kind of going back to this huge report, it looks like Walmart is saying that Tesla, who owns and inspects these, it looks like there was 157 action items for repairs or replacements of these system components.
Right.
48 of which Tesla characterized themselves as unsafe or potentially unsafe. Yeah, and then Walmart goes to say, we did our own follow-up on the inspections, and we've turned out even more problems than what Tesla was telling us, or Solar City, should I say.
Right.
So, I mean...
Well, I guess it's synonymous now. I mean, they're the same company. Tesla's selling those things as a package.
Yeah, so they're kind of one and the same. But, I mean, this sounds completely negligent.
Oh, yeah.
Label something as unsafe or potentially unsafe, and then just kind of go,
we'll just shrug it off.
Hope everything works out for you. Yeah, it just does not look good PR wise for this company. Which
granted, so their solar end has been losing a lot of footing to companies like Samsung and whatnot that produce solar panels. So it's just, I would never say that the Tesla solar panel was ever very popular.
Apparently, it was popular enough where Walmart was willing to try and.
I'm sure that was a partnership. I'm sure Walmart got a deal from a partnership with Tesla where they're like, "Oh, hey, let us install these on your roof, and we'll cut you, a deal for 200 roofs." They probably bid it that way. But I'm sure that was some sort of deal. But to have that installed in your home and then have it just potentially burn your house down, and Tesla basically just be like, "Meh."
Yeah, and then I just found the claims that Walmart found, because I said that Walmart did their own inspection, so they found that many of the Tesla solar panels inspected by Walmart were suffering from hot spots. These were resulting in cracking of the back sheets of the solar modules and compromising electrical insulation. That sounds dangerous.
That sounds bad.
Alone.
That sounds like an exposed live wire.
Yeah,
and if you know anything about electricity, that's a bad thing.
That's a little terrifying.
All it takes is that wire to touch something, which it sounds like it did, and it grounds, and then fire.
Oh my god! And then to make matters worse, Tesla had flagged or identified hotspots by placing pieces of tape over the affected areas. Because this tape prevented sunlight from reaching the solar panel, it exacerbated the problem by further concentrating the heat. So Tesla, not only did they say it was unsafe, but apparently they did an unsafe practice by saying, let's just put tape on it, DIY this fix, and then call it a day.
They made it worse.
Oh my goodness.
Like I said, when I read this story, I was flabbergasted, to use an old school term. That's pretty crazy that they'd be so negligent about this.
And again, this is from Walmart's perspective. There yet has to be anything from Tesla I've seen to kind of respond to this.
Well, they're going to court.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tesla's keeping it tight-lipped at this point. Anything they say can and will be used against them in a court of law. So.
Once things go to court, companies tend to get a little tight-lipped. For good reason.
I'd be betting right now that Tesla's probably sending out their own techs and their own review team to go out and actually see the damage.
Oh, there was a memo on Tuesday morning letting every employee know, this is happening. Please don't talk about it. We don't need any controversy. Let's just go about our days,
Well,
guys.
you know me. I'm gonna stir that controversy up
Yeah.
because Tesla just so
Yeah,
negligent.
and this is probably one of the bigger reasons why Walmart was like, you know what, we're fed up, we're done, we're wiping our hands clean of this. Despite months of back and forth with Walmart, Tesla has yet to pay 1 cent of out of pocket for damaging, consulting, and inspection fees. Zero. Nothing.
Again, the minute they take any sort of responsibility or liability, the minute they say one word out of line, that's where they're accepting that it was their mistake. So I'm sure that they're tight-lipped and just doing everything they can to keep this buried.
Yeah, and you know what? Yikes! That's all I really can say.
Yeah.
After reading all that, it's
pretty
nothing
hilarious to me. It's pretty hilarious to me. It's not good for. I'm glad nobody's been hurt. I'll make that first and foremost. I'm
Yeah.
glad nobody got hurt. I'm glad that it's basically something that just ended up being like a small malfunction that ended up doing some small property damage. So that's good. But like the whole thing in general, like stick to what you're good at, type deal. I feel like the whole Solar City purchase in the first place was basically, I think it was his brother-in-law or something like owned it.
I'm not 100%.
It was something like that. I want to say it was like a bailout type situation in the first place. So like,
well, that's why I mentioned and I could be wrong. I thought he was on the board before they actually purchased it.
Something
I
like
think
that.
he was
There was
actually
some
a part of both
association.
companies. Yeah, and I think that was one of the reasons why they were able to purchase it so easily,
Right.
seamlessly, not having too many hiccups or problems.
Right. There was some sort of convoluted story with it that I'm not going to bother Googling or anything right now while we're sitting here in conversation. But like, I do remember there was something like weird there. So like, you're making cars, you're having a hard time building those cars, and then you're like, oh well, let's buy the solar company
man,
too and
when
start
that-
building solar roofs.
When that Tesla Roadster though comes out, whoo-wee, that's a nice car, man.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's just a 1%er toy.
It is a 1%er toy.
So inefficient.
But it's funny because when you think about it, that car. I'm a big car guy, and it sucks
I'm a
because
car
I'm never
guy
going to
too,
have
but
the
I don't
money
even
to
consider that a car.
It is so it's gonna be on the level of hypercars. They're gonna be able to do 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. They're gonna have, I think it's like 1,000 horsepower plus.
It's because you're totally changing. That's the reason I don't really consider them a car. You're totally changing what the idea of a car is.
Well,
like I get super mad, and I see this all the time. People that allow their car to drive for them, or cars that have tools that like warn them or basically make corrections for them. Like I was driving a car, I was towing a boat. And the car I was driving had, I'm not going to mention the name or make or anything, but it had like a lane correction thing and a cruise control correction thing. So if you're cruising behind somebody and they slow down, your car will correct the distance, right?
Makes sense.
And I never liked this stuff, but I was figuring, I'm going to test it with this just to make sure it's safe. And so I'm running with the boat, pulling it, and I'm going to take a turn. With a boat, you've got a little bit of distance behind you yet, right? Yeah. So you got to make the turn usually a little
the big
wider.
trucks make right turns wide.
Exactly. So I had to make a little wider turn. The car was like, nope. Kept fighting me. So I was like, okay, turning that one off. Can't use that.
Wow.
And then I'm towing a boat, so I've got extra weight. And I've got this cruise control going. I mean, I'm up in the north woods of Wisconsin, so it's not like I'm doing like 80 miles an hour on the highway or anything, but like speed limits are 55. So I'm doing 55 behind somebody with the cruise control set. And that person starts to slow down a bit.
You can't.
And the car is just like slowing down at a point where I was, for a split second, concerned that thing was going to go right through the back of the tongue.
That's what I was just going to. The trailer's going to flip. It's another Final Destination like 10.
So when it comes to the Tesla, you're talking about changing the whole almost definition of what a car is. These things drive themselves. They don't have a standard combustion engine. They're using 4 electric motors. I think the performance one has 4 electric motors, 1 motor per drive tire.
The Roadster will have that. The new ones don't. Or the regular model, whatever, the Model 3 and then the 70D. I don't think those have individual. I could be wrong though.
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a huge fan either. But like I know how their idea works. So I mean, their idea is they just have electric motors powered off a battery, and depending on how strong that motor is, it can produce a ton of torque to go and spin those tires.
Yeah. Well, the latest car show is showing that a lot of these guys are going towards that. They're still going to have engines and naturally aspirated, all that crap, but they're still implying electric motors on like the front wheels. And they're using the motor only for the back. It's crazy, but in the next, I'd say 10 years, it'll be weird not to have an electrical component to your motor in a vehicle.
And that's just, to me, I feel like we need to make that distinction between the two, because I have read in many reports that these hybrid vehicles aren't what they're hyped up to be. They don't get the type of gas savings and type of,
Yeah. Well, when they
fuel
had
economy / resale value that they
yeah.
hype up.
Yeah, it was like the Prius back in the
Right.
day. I mean, I remember my cousins buying that, and he was all into the green renewable and
Mhm.
great. You know, I love it. And the
Thanks.
Prius was definitely yeah, referring to a South Park episode. But they were trying, and I feel like it was just a very low, moderate version of it because it was like you only did electric under 20 miles an hour.
Right.
How often are you really driving 20 miles an hour?
Well, I mean, that's up to 20 miles an hour because I
Yeah,
know my
so-
sister-in-law has one, and the way it works is when you're slowing down, it uses your braking energy to charge the motor,
So
or
there
when
you-
you're cruising, it'll charge the motor, and then when you're accelerating, it's up to 20 miles an hour, I think, is when the final electric motor, or the electric motor kicks off, and the gas motor kicks in.
So what I think we're seeing is just kind of the natural evolution of the car. It just is what it is. The electrical components can add so much benefit to these cars. I get the self-driving and stuff. That's a little nerve-wracking
Yeah.
because you need the infrastructure for that. You need to have more than just the Tesla on the road that can do the self-driving.
I'm of the belief that you need to have two different types of cars. You need to have a car that you drive, that you are responsible for,
Yeah.
and then you can have the electric car to which you can sue the manufacturer when it hits somebody, and
not my
you're
fault.
sleeping behind the wheel.
Yeah. Well,
You
the
know.
Tesla doesn't even allow you to drive hands-free. It makes you
That's got to be BS. I'm gonna look up a
So-
video. I know I saw a video recently of a guy
Teslas
driving
make
his Tesla
you touch your
hands-free.
wheel at every certain interval to make sure that you're still engaged with the driving experience. You can't be sitting there driving and take your hands off the wheel and start going to bed or
Oh, really?
whatever. Oh, I'm pretty
gonna
sure.
pull up a video right now here on YouTube.
Oh,
I knew I had
gosh.
seen people doing this before. I'm gonna skip this commercial. Here we go. I don't know who this
But
guy is, but
is he testing
he's
it
got his hands down.
for how long?
Obviously,
though?
this is from CNN.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Look at this.
How long's the video? Can I see how long the video
The
is?
video looks like it's
See,
almost a minute.
But that's what I'm saying. So there's this sequence that the car says, look, you have to touch the wheel, and if you don't touch the wheel, automatic driving turns off.
Well, whatever they have, I feel like when you're going and allowing people to have the option, people are inherently going to take the lazy option
Oh,
and allow
yeah.
the vehicle to do it.
It
And then,
definitely is going to cause problems.
and then
but-
you're going and you're basically leaving people open to basically liability. Like whose fault is it? Is it the car's fault that hit somebody, or is it yours?
I mean, ultimately, it's probably going to be the person, but they're going to.
Not if the car is driving itself. I know that we're going to see that in court sooner than later.
Yeah, I think the insurance companies would blame the person, but if the person wants to take it into their own hands to sue Tesla for, damages and court costs,
I think
and
the insurance companies
costs.
will be the first people to put that up. To be honest with you.
Yeah,
Because
it's
it's
a good
going to
question.
come
I
down to
don't know.
liability. They don't want to have to pay out if somebody got killed.
I'd be curious to talk to someone in insurance that would be like selling to people who have Teslas. If there's like an extra,
Well, this might be
thing
down the
they-
line when we're talking about a fully autonomous vehicle, but that's where I'm coming from. I feel
Yeah.
like you need to draw that line. There has to be either a fully autonomous vehicle that you get in, push a button, and it takes
or
you
like a
off.
fully autonomous road where only cars that can drive themselves can be on it. It's like that,
the Tesla tunnel.
dude. See, he's in a million different things. He's got the hyper tunnel.
And
He's
the
got
hyper
solar
tunnel
panels.
I'm
he's
just gonna say
spaceships.
that is the dumbest idea. That's like buying Fast Pass at Disneyland.
I don't know what that is. Never been.
You've been to any other place that go like amusement park that they have
Yeah.
rides and they sell you that extra pass, like get in the line earlier. That's
Mm.
all that thing is. You're
Really?
gonna go. People are gonna buy Teslas to get onto that stupid tunnel, and they're gonna be waiting in line to go get into this tunnel
Like I bought
to
my
wait in line to get off of the tunnel.
Yeah, they're like, I bought my 2020 Tesla. It's 2030, and I'm finally
Right.
driving it in the tunnel.
Right, the tunnel
Yeah.
is such a silly idea.
It's definitely a slow-moving world.
I don't
in the
disagree that we
autonomous
need to
world, so.
find some sort of alternative energy or anything else. We can have a whole different conversation about
Yeah.
ways I think that would work. But in terms of this Tesla thing, like it cracks me up that they're getting hit with this lawsuit.
Yeah.
You know, Walmart, good for you for sticking it to them. You know, and actually, I know that
Well-
when I had read it, the people that had the cars exploded, they were getting in on this lawsuit, so it might end up being a class lawsuit thing.
No, great. Great. Good luck, Tesla and Walmart. I wish you guys the best. I still like the Tesla cars. Granted that they're exploding. Apparently, I
Only
I
a
was
few. It's not that
yeah, I'm
prominent.
sure
It's
that,
only a few.
I'm sure there's. I mean, with any product like that, you're gonna have defects. Unfortunately, the defects for a vehicle are much larger
And more
than
dangerous.
most.
You saw
Yeah,
that thing burst
so
into flames. If that was in your house sitting in the garage,
yikes.
your house would be gone.
Yeah.
Put that in an urban area. If you had like, a bunch of buildings next to each other, you could probably take out a block.
Yeah. So Tesla with some potential problems in the future. But we'll see. They report what in November, was it?
Yeah, I think it was
believe?
November.
Yeah. So watch out for that. Maybe some headwinds for them with this lawsuit. Probably won't see too much of an effect in this quarter, but definitely going forward, this is going to have some type of backlash on them. But
Admittedly, I'm a hater, so feel free to go ahead and just tell me I'm a hater because I don't like them. But yeah, let's get into the battleground, shouldn't
yeah.
we? We're running these people's ears off, I think, on our funny opinions on what's going to happen with
all
Tesla.
right, here we go.
All right, so I'm actually pulling a blank on the battleground today. I went in taking a look to see what was available, and I was just like, you know what, I'm not really feeling anything at this moment. So
I kind of understand that though, because granted, the retail stocks that we talked about earlier, Target and Lowe's and Walmart, kind of posting those good earnings and kind of helping push the market a little bit forward. The global kind of outlook is good.
I feel like we're bouncing back a little bit yet from that.
It's a little
fear.
nerve-wracking out there in the market right now. It's
I don't know. I wouldn't say for myself nerve-wracking. I think it's just one of those things where kind of like everybody else, it seems like we've gotten a little bit more comfortable with what's going on with the trade war. So we bounce back from those lows that we had hit earlier.
Right.
It feels like we're starting to buy stuff again because volumes are going back up. But me personally, I just don't. It's not that I don't know where the market's going to go. I think I just don't know where I want to buy into the market. Am I looking for a value stock right now because things are crazy? Am I looking for a momentum stock because things could bounce back up really high? Myself, I like to take a step back and wait a minute, not make a rash decision, I guess would be the best way to put it. And I'd say to everybody watching this show right now, as we are sitting here today, don't ever irrationally buy a stock. Do a little bit of research.
You don't want to just jump into a stock and then have it plummet on you the next day, because you could buy today and tomorrow we could have another huge down day, because literally we've been on a roller coaster ride.
Right.
Monday up, Tuesday down, and then we got Wednesday up again. So it's one of those, like I said, just for me, I guess nerve-wracking is the wrong word, but just uncertain.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's going to go. You don't know if you're buying at a good point, because even though the stock might say, hey, we're great valuation, our earnings are going up, the market might take this down a little bit. It might give you more of an opportunity to buy at a cheaper price. So sometimes,
and that's where I'm just taking a
see.
step back. Yeah, I mean, is it value? Is it momentum? I don't know. And since I don't know, I'm just going to chill. I mean, I went and looked at the list this morning just to make sure, there wasn't something that, we potentially wanted to add, or I should say I wanted to add. Because, this is actually a pretty decent list. There are some really good stocks on here. I actually looked at GoGo, thinking that I might add that one again, and it's just not looking right where I want it yet. So
yeah. Well,
I'm going to call a blank on my...
You're allowed to do that, So me, though, I was a little bit different. I did some back-end stuff to look at our portfolio that we've been our watch list portfolio. And I went back to a company we added. I think this was our first episode, actually.
Really?
Yeah, Callaway Golf.
Oh, you are going to add that one.
I'm revisiting it. Only because it just came out with earnings.
Yeah, it's been green since we've added it.
Yeah, and it's done pretty well. So let's take a look here. It's currently a 2 buy. VGM is an overall A, growth of an A, A for value, C for growth, and C for momentum. So it's not too bad. But what really kind of enticed me was this recent earnings beat of 48%.
Yeah,
it really looks
awesome.
good. And then it dropped down because of all this kind of volatility going on in the market. You could see it kind of drop down in the early August, and then the earnings hit, and people got kind of excited. They're like, hey, this is a decent company to buy into. Apparently, the market kind of took its hit again, and it's right back around where it was during earnings. Now, if I go to the details estimates, which is one of the more reasons why I'm kind of excited about it. If my internet wants to work here, there we go.
Do you think this one's cyclical? Do you think, seeing as we're coming up on the end of summer, that this thing might take a hit?
You know what? I don't think that this is going to be one of those companies you're going to buy for a quarter basis. It's going to be those where you can look for the future, and that's kind of what I'm seeing here. In the last 30 and 60 days, you have almost, let's see, six. So you have 11 estimates moving forward, only one going down for the current year. Next year, you have, let's see, 5, 9, 10 estimates moving forward, and only 2 on the downside. So I mean, it looks pretty enticing. Then you move on over to the price consensus.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to look at right now, too,
Yeah.
actually, at the same time, because I'm interested to see whether it is a cyclical business.
Well, this is what I mean. So golf in general, it was powered once in the blue moon back in the 09, I'd say 03 to 09. You had the Tiger era, right? Really kind of pushed the stock back in the. Let's see if we can.
Looks like 2008 is actually when they, like mid 2007 probably was actually when they started, taking numbers down.
Those Tiger days right here. You can kind of see that era dying down in the golf industry. But we're kind of getting that back. I mean, Tiger's
actually
back. People are interested in golf again. I'm
it
interested
looks like
in
it's
golf.
coming back to its all-time highs. I mean,
Right.
it looks like an all-time high that I'm seeing here.
So
what's that? Maybe 18?
Yeah, what makes me kind of look towards the future a little bit is that 2020 line hovering above those 21 range-ish. We haven't got enough estimates out for 2021 yet. Obviously, you're going to hope it kind of goes up. But just looking at that, it's very enticing to me. And, I'm going to, like we kind of mentioned before I jumped into this, is that, the stocks are kind of moving up and down. You don't know where they're going. I'm going to wait for the next down day. And I think I'm going to add this to the portfolio and hope for just kind of that push towards those earnings estimates that we saw there, towards like the 22 range, maybe even more, because their earnings are doing very well. They're obviously showing that they're still selling golf equipment.
So you're going to keep it on the list, in other words?
Well, no, I wanted to mention it because I want to add it, but being in just, I guess, more of a strategic way of adding it, I'm going to wait for the next down day to actually add it to the portfolio, because I want to give myself a chance. I don't want to add it and then it go down on this roller coaster ride we're in. So
well, then on that note, Danny, why don't you pull up my computer real quick and let's see where we're both at.
All right. Oh yeah, the portfolios.
Yeah.
Let's dive into those.
I mean, it looks like I'm having a down day. I'm down 12%. Disney is just.
Oh no, your total gains are $12, and then your day gains are actually up 50 cents. That's not so bad.
Am I not seeing the same thing you are?
Yeah, right there at the top right. You got day gains and you got total gains.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
You just-
yeah.
you just
I
mix
usually
it up.
look at total.
Oh, it doesn't matter either one.
I guess,
You
but
always like to see if your portfolio is moving in the right direction. Right?
yeah, I guess I always pay attention to the total gains because that's pretty much what I'm worried about. Is where I first came in. It could be up 50 cents for the day,
Right.
but
And then
let's see what you got.
I'm actually moving in a positive direction right now. At one point, we were down like $120.
Yeah.
And now we're only down 79. We have a gain of $13 today. We're looking to add another.
I want Disney to pop for.
Yeah, you know what though?
Jesus' sake.
As you can see, the rank for that stock has kind of plummeted to
Yeah.
a 5.
Why?
The earnings
Okay.
estimates have been going down quite a
I
bit
know.
lately.
I just don't understand why people are hating on them.
I don't know. I'm going to obviously hold it. It's one of those companies I believe in a very long future.
Yeah.
Obviously, they
Yeah.
have a lot going on. They're a huge,
And they're
huge
launching
company.
their, service here. What, in like a month or two? Like I think it's in October, November they're launching it. Like,
Yeah, something like that.
yeah, they're gonna be cleaning it up.
Yeah, and I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be purchasing that $12.99.
Yeah,
for
see what I'm
Hulu,
saying? So I don't know why-
ESPN, Disney Plus. So
Obviously, don't listen to us because we're just two average Joes. But like,
No,
man,
but I
that
mean,
Zacks rank, like,
yeah, I
God.
feel like the closer we get to the streaming service, the more hype it'll get. I think right now it was announced back a couple months ago. The kind of hype and overall thought of it has kind of died down. So
Probably.
maybe once they release it, kind of we get to see some numbers and that type of stuff. We'll kind of
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
see some more excitement.
it
But
seems like they're
right
the
now-
golden goose right now, just laying golden eggs, and I just.
In my opinion, yeah. I mean, they're just killing it in every aspect. The only thing that was really holding them down was that Fox Media, that they were kind of. They said this was going to happen because they were, just putting it back into the rotation with their media content. So they'll be fine.
I feel like a whole bunch of people are going to end up losing out big when they pull their content You know, like Netflix, and Netflix lost their Disney content, I think, like a year ago. But like,
Yeah, I mean, but
any other cable channel or anything else that's running Disney stuff, like.
yeah.
All right. Well, Danny, you got anything else?
No, not much. I mean, we're gonna again just keep an eye on this Callaway, and look for the next down day. I think it's a good ad. It's going to be a smaller portion of the portfolio. It won't be a big allocation, but I think there's a pop there to be made, especially with the earnings and the outlook for 2020. So,
all right. Well, on my end, I think I'm basically just going to keep an eye on the market and see what happens and see whether I'm going to play some value or momentum. I mean, so much to think about. But thanks for joining us, everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment for us. And next time, get involved with our chat so you can get in and tell us that I'm a major Tesla hater. It's always funny. Also, make sure you watch Ben Rains tomorrow for free lunch. That'll be on at the same exact hour. And also, while you're at it, make sure that you check out our Zacks Ultimate service, which is our all-encompassing service that gives you every last portfolio and all the special screens and everything else that you need to beat the market. So with Danny Mac, I'm Eric, and we will see you on Monday.
later.